Yes, Chair, we have 50% of the members present.
Okay. I need someone to move and second the agenda for today. Moved by Sue, seconded by Brian. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move to the minutes. I need somebody to move and second who was at the last meeting. Okay. Moved by David, seconded by Bruce. Any questions with respect to the minutes from the last meeting? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. So no business from the previous minutes, no delegations, no presentations, correspondence. So I need a mover and a seconder, and then we'll review correspondence if so desired. Sean moves, seconded by Doug Craig. Any questions about the correspondence? Seeing none. Oh, sorry, David, go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wondering about 9A. I'm just asking through you if that's being dealt with.
Through you, Chair. Yes, it has. Unfortunately, he's not pleased with the approach that we've taken, but the correspondence is actually to the minister. We just wanted to attach it to the agenda because it was the board was CC'd on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, and that's what I needed to hear. So thank you.
Thanks, David. We'll move down to reports. My report, there's, sorry, we need to vote on that.
Yes.
Yes. We've got a mover and a seconder? Okay. All in favor? It's carried. With respect to my report to you, there's three things that I just like to briefly discuss. So in August, we don't have, sorry, in August, we're going to review the Chair and Board Effectiveness Review Plan. And the second thing is in September, the CAO, Deputy CAO, Vice Chair, and myself are going to start working on some board governance issues. And we expect to bring back a full report to you by next June for your review. We will spend some time with you through the winter on specific matters. I'm probably going to be making some calls during the summer to individual board members to sort of get your thoughts about what you believe is working well in terms of board governance and where you'd like to see improvements. I heard a little bit of that back in January and February. That is helping us get started, but kind of like to get some additional thoughts as well as we go through the summer and into the fall. So watch for that. And then the final thing is the CAO and I are meeting with Larry Brock in July. I expect that there'll be other similar invitations to talk about the GRCA through the summer, given the MPPs and the MPs are back in their ridings for the summer. So that's it. I need a mover and a seconder to receive the report. Moved by Rob, seconded by Lisa. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. The strat plan implementation. Of course, we approved the strat plan last month. You can see the printed version of it on your desks. Very, very handsome, and look forward to having another read. Need a mover and a seconder to move the implementation plan. Moved by Matt, seconded by Sandy. Any questions of staff with respect to the implementation plan? If not, all in favor? It's carried. CAO performance review policy. Are there any questions of staff or myself before I take a mover and a seconder with respect to the plan itself? All right, seeing none, then I need a mover and a seconder for that plan. There's Guy. Yes, moved by Colleen, seconded by Dan. All in favor? It's carried. Cash and investment status. Need a mover and a seconder for cash and investment status report. Moved by Gord, seconded by Guy. Thank you, Guy. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. And then the financial summary for the last 30 days. Need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Bruce, seconded by Sue. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. And then so we're into the amendments to the Grand River Conservation Authority hearing guidelines and procedures. Need a mover and a seconder for this report. Moved by Brian, seconded by Sue. Any questions? Yes, David.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of questions on this report. I'm looking at the actual policy book. So that would be the second attachment to that. And there's a table there, summary of hearing requirements, and it talks about in table 1, the appeal. So you can appeal to the OLT within 90 days. And for a stop order, you can appeal to the minister. This appeal process, is this after a hearing before the hearing board?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Okay, and then in the document talks about the hearing board. I don't know who's on the hearing board.
Through you, Chair, it's the GRCA board transitions into a tribunal.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Wasn't clear on that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we need a mover and a seconder for that. David, do you wish to move that report? Thank you. Seconded by? Pam, thank you. All in favor? It's carried. Next matter is delegation of powers. Need a mover and a seconder for this report. Sue has moved it. Gord has seconded it. Any questions with respect to this report? All in favor? It's carried. Item 10H, the agricultural policy review of the province of Ontario. Need a mover or a seconder, please? Moved by Lisa, seconded by Colleen. Any questions of staff with respect to this report? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. Oh, sorry, Brian. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Didn't see that. Go ahead. Was it Lisa that asked the question?
Yes, well, it wasn't specifically a question, but I'm very happy to see this come forward, that we're looking at this. Some of the regulations that we have right now are simply not workable. In my opinion, if you wish to build, we'll say like a hay shelter, something simple like that, with that size, it's not workable with today's bale sizes and equipment sizes, etc. And is forcing people to build outside the farm cluster, which increase farmland consumption and of course has MDS impacts as we're trying to build, as more and more houses are moving into the rural area. So I'm glad that we're looking at this, whatever happens out of it.
Okay, much appreciated. Thanks, Lisa. So the next matter is actually part of the board education. It's a presentation by Ron with respect to natural heritage. So Ron, please step forward.
All right, got a novice up here. My name is Ron Winter, and I'm the supervisor of natural heritage here at the GRCA. And this presentation is part of an ongoing series to provide board members a quick overview of what different groups do here at the GRCA. And we've also submitted our group's 2024 annual report in your board package, which provides a very detailed summary of the work of our group. Our annual report acts for us as a historical record of the work of our group, and probably in too much detail for the board, but I'm grateful to have the opportunity to summarize some of last year's highlights. The Natural Heritage Group is a team of 4 full members, plus 2 planning ecologists that contribute 20% of their time to natural heritage initiatives. We're part of the Conservation Lands Department and work closely with the remainder of that team. And again, in the report, the 2024 report, there's much more information on the roles of the group, but I've tried to categorize or summarize them on this slide. And our main role is the one to protect, restore, manage, and monitor natural features on GRCA lands. And this has been the case for quite a while, but I think even more so since the recent changes to the Conservation Authorities Act. However, members of the team still also support wider watershed initiatives, both through the formal planning and regulatory review processes, and in less formal ways by supporting, where possible, stewardship initiatives of other governmental and non-governmental partners. And as I think you're aware, when it comes to work on GRCA lands, there's no shortage of area to focus on. The GRCA currently owns just under 20,000 hectares of land, and around 90% of these lands are covered by natural cover. This predominance of natural cover on our lands is due both to targeted historical land acquisition and, as importantly, to GRCA's legacy of large-scale ecological restoration work on these lands, a legacy that current staff have the privilege of stewarding into the future. And as we highlighted in the GRCA's conservation area strategy, although we own around 3% of the land in the watershed, our properties contain 7% of the forest cover area and 11% of the wetland area. And again, partly due to this strategic land acquisition and restoration work, in the Upper Grand Sub-watershed, we own as much as 21% of the forest cover and 31% of the wetland area. So our lands make a very significant contribution to watershed health. And I think that the GRCA can and should be proud of this legacy. But this being said, it still means that around 90% of watershed natural areas are found on non-conservation area lands, and highlights the importance of supporting private land stewardship in various ways, including through the work of GRCA's conservation outreach team, who you heard from a few meetings back. So now I'd just like to highlight some of the work detailed in our 2024 report. The GRCA manages around 400 hectares of created or restored grasslands. Although management of these individual areas has been ongoing for quite some time, in 2024, we took a big step in more systematically planning the management of our grasslands as a whole. Staff completed condition assessments of all of our managed grassland areas, compiled historic information, and created a 15-year forecast of maintenance and enhancement activity. Forests are the most common type of natural cover on our land. Close to 60% of our land is covered by forest, and around 40% of that was planted by the GRCA. By sheer physical area, these planted forests represent a huge opportunity where ongoing restoration work can make a significant contribution to the ecological health of the watershed. And Natural Heritage staff currently focus a significant amount of time on conifer plantation management, with our ongoing goal of restoring diverse and resilient forests. One of the ways we do this is through a series of commercial plantation thinnings. And in 2024, staff oversaw close to 90 hectares of thinning in our forests. Often nature does the work of establishing other trees and shrubs in these plantations. However, in some cases, especially when invasive species are a threat, we do some enhanced underplanting to increase diversity and speed restoration along. And an exciting collaboration, which you heard about, I think, a year and a bit ago, we entered into in 2024, is with GRCA Greenhouse and Ecological Services of Six Nations to do some of this enhanced work at our Arkell Springs Smith property, supported by a grant from Ontario Power Generation. In the area of wetlands, GRCA has around 60 hectares of created wetlands in our lands, which the Natural Heritage Group is involved in monitoring and managing. We don't do as much direct stream and aquatic restoration on GRCA lands. However, one aquatic program that has been a great success is the Mill Creek Stewardship Rangers. And you received a letter this month from Don McKay, the chair of the Friends of Mill Creek. The Ranger program is a partnership with the Friends of Mill Creek, who through donations and grants raise the funds needed to hire a crew lead, who's usually a university student or recent graduate, and 4 high school students to undertake aquatic restoration work in the Mill Creek subwatershed. A significant objective of that program is to provide young people interested in study or work in the environmental field a chance to get some hands-on experience and exposure to environmental careers. And this last year was the 20th season for the Rangers. And I want to give a big shout out both to the Friends of Mill Creek and GRCA staff that have made that possible, including one of our planning ecologists that has directed and taught the crews since the first year. Invasive species control has been a significant part of our group's work on GRC lands over the last decade. The Natural Heritage Group primarily focuses on invasive species control related to protecting ecological values, while our supervisor of forestry operation, who also runs a tree nursery, oversees weed control projects on our dams and also invasive plants like giant hogweed, where the primary focus is more related to public safety. And if you're familiar with non-native invasive species issues, then you're likely aware that it's not feasible for the GRCA to control all invasive species across all of our lands. The general guideline we've been using to decide where and when to control is 1, when we have the opportunity to protect especially valuable ecological features, and secondly, when we have the opportunity to intervene early to control what we think is a high-risk species. 2 examples of 2024 projects protecting valuable ecological features include ongoing Phragmites control at Tequania Conservation Area and at Luther Marsh. And at Tequania, we have some endangered plants. And this is a picture of someone treating Phragmites immediately adjacent to some of those endangered plants. An example of early intervention project in 2024 is our efforts to control small patches of dog strangling vine on a number of our properties, with provincial funding from the Invasive Species Center. This project continues this year and includes some treatments along the rail trail between Glen Morris and Cambridge, which will result in a 1-day trail closure the middle of next week, as long as the weather cooperates, just in case any of you had planned for a walk along the trail next Wednesday. Control along trail systems like this is especially important in preventing the spread of this species by trail users. And I want to end by highlighting the role of the natural heritage staff in facilitating access to our properties for research purposes. In 2024, staff processed 41 applications and provided 38 access permits. There are a wide variety of requests for research access, from groups contributing to the North American Breeding Bird Survey, to local health units sweeping for ticks to monitor their distribution, to long-term studies on the biological control of invasive Phragmites, water control, and climate change, and many more. Research and monitoring on our lands contributes directly to our own knowledge of GRCA lands and the watershed, and more generally helps support scientific research. It's also a chance for us to support and collaborate with a variety of groups, from small nonprofits to universities and various governmental organizations. So that was a very quick snapshot of some of the work of the Natural Heritage Group. And I think this probably goes without saying, but I should acknowledge that the work completed in 2024 is only possible due to the hard work and dedication of the members of the Natural Heritage team. So a big thank you to them, and also to you for this chance to highlight some of our work. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Very insightful presentation. Are there any questions of Ron with respect to this report or the work that he and his team are doing? Yes, David.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, through you to the presenter. Yeah, appreciate that and this information. The Heritage Group, you're dealing on GRCA lands, got that. But you said you have an outreach team that maybe works with landowners of GRCA regulated lands. Is it a proactive group, or is the philosophy of the outreach team proactive? In other words, maybe you're doing some work on GRCA owned land and you can maybe leverage it if the neighboring properties do the same work, or are you more reactive? In other words, you respond to complaints or somebody sends in an inquiry. How would you describe the outreach group?
Through the chair, I don't necessarily want to speak on behalf of the other outreach group, but Louise Hemming did do a presentation here, I think 3 meetings ago or so. But, you know, they proactively look for landowners that are interested in doing restoration on their properties. If the question is more how, like, when we're doing work on our lands, whether we, you know, look for opportunities to work with neighbors, we don't really, partly because, well, one, we just don't have the resources. We have lots of work to do on our own lands. And then two, it is somewhat more complicated if you start working on private lands, just in terms of ensuring, you know, liability and things like that are covered. So
Sorry, when you're talking about Louise, you're talking about the rural water quality program.
Yes,
And
that's correct.
that's part of your outreach then. So,
but that, yeah, sorry, but it's not part of the Natural Heritage Team's outreach. It's part of the GRCA's outreach. So we primarily work on private lands, sorry, on GRCA lands. However, like in certain circumstances, like if someone has a watershed-wide initiative, we are, you know, involved, or we're supporting initiatives of the municipalities, working with the province. Like we've had contacts recently about where are some good places to do some research on brook trout, and we provide the information we have to them. So we still work beyond our lands, but a large part of our work is on GRCA land,
okay.
of the Natural Heritage Group specifically.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I think we have a question from Dan Lawrence as well. Unless he's just waving at me. Or is it Rob? Might be Rob. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Rob, you got a question? Okay. All right. That's good. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. And thanks for the question, David. I need a mover and a seconder for this presentation. Moved by Sue, seconded by Pam. Any further questions or discussions? All in favor? It's carried. So the next report is one that the board has seen before, but we've had, you know, we get questions every year about giant hogweed, and Ron referenced it in his presentation. It's here for your reference only, unless you've got any questions of staff with respect to the report. Are there any questions? Yes, David, and then Sandy.
Just a comment, and no, it was a good report, and it was good. It's a good news story, but it was also good to get that data, I guess, because the spread of hogweed, I've only got one source of how much it's spreading, and so it was good to see this the data that staff have got in this report. But at the same time, given how quick this plant can reproduce, I think it's probably something we can't let you know, slide too much. So, no, appreciate it.
All right, thanks for your comment, David. Sandy?
Thanks. Excuse me, I appreciate that we can't eradicate hogweed on other people's property, but if we get sightings coming in that are on other properties, do we forward that on?
Staff, go ahead. Yeah.
Through you, Chair. No, it's actually the municipality that can deal with it. It's up to the landowner to resolve it if it's on their property. But if there's sightings, they can be reported into the municipality, and the Noxious Weed Act plays in there. If it's on GRCA property, we have a reporting system, and it's on the website how people can report that to us as well.
So do we share that information if they're reporting something that isn't on our property?
Sorry, is on GRCA's property?
That is not. So if I see a hogweed and I call you, would you tell me you need to call your Woolwich Township or wherever it is? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. Any further questions? All right, I need a mover and a seconder for this report. Moved by David, seconded by Matt. All in favor? It's carried. So the next couple of reports relate to dam management, and the first one is the general report on funding. I need a mover or seconder, and then I'll take any questions. So who would like to move this report? Moved by Guy, seconded by Pam. Questions of staff with respect to this report? Seeing none? Oh, sorry, David, didn't see you at the end there.
It's just, well, it's related to the second report as well. Wellesley Dam and Baden Dam. I know those were emergency repairs. Those were funded through the water control structure reserves. So if, for report K, funding of small dams, were it to be implemented as it's presented, that would be a different way we funded it. Am I reading out those two reports right? Yeah.
Yes, through you, Chair. That's correct. If there were to be significant major maintenance planned at one of the small dams, the intent of that report is to lay out that we would apply for provincial or federal funding where applicable. We would have it worked into our 5-year capital forecast. The asset management plan for the small dams that will be coming should lay that out and may adjust the current 5-year capital forecast. And if there are significant costs related to the major maintenance, we would explore the best avenues to fund it through reserves or through that benefiting municipality levy.
So, follow up then. I could see a case where we have emergency repairs like we did there for Wellesley or Baden, and we have a big bill to give to maybe a lower tier municipality. And they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Through you, Chair. So just to give you a bit of background, this is a similar approach that was proposed in the early 2000s, but precipitated more so with the changes to the legislation in the new Category 1, 2, and 3 breakdown. In terms of a situation like Wellesley, I think that the threshold is probably more a dollar value than it is. So these ones were significant, but whether or not they'd reach the threshold that we would have to utilize a special levy to the municipality, I think, like Caitlin had mentioned, WECI dollars, so provincial dollars, potentially federal dollars, we would try very hard to not just drop that on the municipality, recognizing that it's probably not something they've budgeted for. But I think the proposal in the report to look at it from an asset management perspective would hopefully also give us the opportunity to speak to those municipalities to determine what the appropriate next steps would be.
Yeah, and just go a little further because all municipalities should have their own asset management plan, and I'm pretty sure that they don't put those dams, under their asset management plan because they're part of the GRCAs. But at the same time, it sounds like they would be responsible for any capital repairs, or a good chunk of it. And I'm just wondering if I know we share the minutes with all the our partners, municipals, but this is something I think maybe they should get special attention to when we do pass something. Just, communicate it and let them know that, down the road, it's just a thought rather than, again.
Yeah, and there has been some discussion, as you can see in the reports that follow.
Yeah.
And maybe Sam at the appropriate time will offer some additional details if interested.
Yeah, just
that.
something to think about when we
Okay,
get to it, yeah.
right. Thanks, David. Any other questions? Jim?
I know there have been some discussions with the mayor of Wellesley, but understand the dilemma with the funding and the asset management. Seeing the Wellesley pond in particular emptied and now filled, I fully understand the challenges of that particular facility when we saw it emptied and what the rehabilitation would take. So I'm glad at least we're addressing it and looking at it and possibly a long-term option.
Thanks, Jim. Any other questions or comments? We've got a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the report? It's carried. So the next report relates to this discussion, and that's the Wellesley Dam. So I need a mover and a seconder for this report, and then if there's any questions of staff. Yes, Sean has moved it, seconded by Sue. Questions with respect to Wellesley? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. And then related, sorry, not related. Baden was a part of that as well. The next report is the Pride Stable structural repairs. Need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Pam, seconded by Sue. Any questions with respect to this repair activity? Yes, Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I've already spoken to staff about this, and so I do have some concerns about this. I do have some concerns about the cost. I wish it was in there, the size of the building, because I don't know. Are you talking a 25 by 60 or 30 by whatever building? It seems to me like it's an awful lot of money, and we're sitting right in the prime area of the Mennonite structured areas that can build barns, and I believe they could build a barn much cheaper than this.
Okay. Do you wish to respond to that at all?
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Chair. So just to reiterate our conversation, so we did post this on Bid and Go, so that's a public platform for bidding. So anyone does have the opportunity to bid on this. In this instance, we're happy we did get 3 bids and we are recommending the low bidder. So we're following our procurement standards. The interesting thing with this barn is it's a flat roof that we're replacing with a concrete block walls. So it's slightly different than a typical like agricultural building that would just be wood frame and trusses. So there is some slight variations there that might impact the cost. And also we're dealing with potentially some unknown conditions. If the roof was leaking, we are going to repairing some wood alongside that with foundations, rubble foundations and footings. So there's a few extra variations in that, which we assume impacted the cost. But we're happy with the procurement process because we got 3 bids and we're recommending the low bidder.
Ryan, any questions or comments? Okay. Maybe we'll go on offline and have a further conversation so that I better understand the issue from your perspective. I need a mover and a seconder for that. We've got that? Okay. Any further questions? All in favor? It's carried. Current watershed conditions. Here to answer any questions if you have them. I need a mover and a seconder for this report. Moved by Gord, seconded by Sandy. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. Nothing with respect to committee of the whole or general business, no third readings. Other business we're going to do at the end of near the end of the meeting. We're now moving into closed. So I need somebody to move and second us moving into closed. Moved by Brian, seconded by Guy. All in favor? It's carried. All right, let's get back to the regular meeting. A number of resolutions to be approved. So the minutes of the previous session, I need a mover and a seconder for the in-camera minutes. Moved by Pam, seconded by Rod. All in favor? It's carried. The next in-camera report, I need a mover and a seconder for that report. Moved by Sue, seconded by Jim. All in favor? It's carried. And then the third, the pending acquisition. Need a mover and a seconder for that report, please. Moved by Matt, seconded by Brian. All in favor? It's carried. Item 15D, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Sue, seconded by Pam. All in favor? It's carried. And the last matter, the again, pending acquisition disposition. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Gord is moving, seconded by Guy. All in favor? It's carried. So the next meeting is August 22nd. Just to sort of, I mentioned I was going to move other business to this point. And those of us who served on the board between 2018 and 2022 would know Warren Stotch. And there was always other business when Warren sat around the table, whether staff knew that or not. And so Warren has joined us. He's come back to break bread with us and to have his photograph taken, as that board photograph had not been taken and now will be. this morning after we're finished the meeting. So Warren, do you have any items of other business for us?
Thank you, John, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Seems like a long time since I've been here at the GRCA board meeting, but I have something to share with you today, and it's being passed around. And Samantha, if you want to take a group for your there. The Waterloo Historical Society was formed in 1912. And since 1925, we've had a plaques committee, and we put up 22 plaques in that time period in the Waterloo region. And this is our 100th anniversary of the plaques committee. And we have a new plaque. And this is what I want to share with you this morning. Idlewild Park on Mill Run Trail in Cambridge is the location of this plaque. And it's dedicated to the park that was in the Speed River on an island, and went out of business in the about 1920s or early 30s because of the advent of the automobile, and people could go more places with their own car. And rather than taking the electric railroad from Preston or Hespeler to the park. So we're going to have a dedication and an unveiling of that plaque on the 8th of July at 7 o'clock in the evening, and you're invited to attend if you have time. It won't be a very long ceremony or period of time, but we'll give you a little bit of the history of it at that time as well. You know, the Grand River was nominated Canadian Heritage River in 1994. And this is one of the things that groups like the Waterloo Historical Society have been doing, is to honor the human history of the park or of the watershed. And so this is why we've been putting up the plaques. Some of them are bronze and have been stolen. So we're in the process of finding partners to replace those plaques. But we would certainly invite you to come if you are available. Let me know. My email or phone numbers at the bottom for 7 o'clock on the 8th of July in Mill Run Park. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Warren. Great to see you again, and look forward to having lunch with you today. Okay, just a couple of administrative items before we adjourn. So the first item of business is getting our photographs taken as a group. So the 2018 to 2022 board will be photographed first, basically back through the foyer to the south side of the foyer where you can go at the back doors. That's where the photos are going to be taken. If everybody could head back that way, because I think it'll happen fairly quickly, and we don't want to lose anybody. So if we can all go back there regardless of the board we served on, and get that taken care of. We're a little bit early, so we may be waiting a little while for others to arrive. So we'll figure that out when we get back there. We may do something else before the pictures are taken. And then lunch will follow that. And assuming that the weather stays the way it is right now, we'll be having lunch in the parking lot adjacent to the building. There's picnic tables there, etc. And looking forward to that with everybody. Okay, so with that, I now need moving to second to adjourn the meeting. It's been moved by Sean and seconded by Guy. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.